What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. My review of The Mandalorian, Episode 7. We're getting the band back together. So we start off the episode with Mando flying through space when he gets a transmission from Grief Targa. And Grief's like, hey, I'm not calling to give you any grief. I'm sorry, that was horrible. So he says, if you're receiving this message, you're obviously alive, and you know I'm alive, so let's just call it even. Since you've left, the Empire has sent reinforcements, and what's left of the Guild can't get anything done. So if you're open to one more contract, I want you to come back and kill the head of the Empire. Now, once he's gone and the Stormtroopers realize they're not going to get paid this Friday, they'll take off, so we'll be good to go. Sure. Now, this is where Mando decides that if he's going to do this, he's got to have some help. He's got to have somebody he can trust. So we go back to the planet to pick up Cara Dune, and we see her in the middle of a pretty cool bar fight. She's tethered with this other guy with like a laser rope. I mean, it's a laser, but they can touch it. It doesn't burn them. She's going toe-to-toe with this guy who looks like he could be part of Darth Maul's species, but he doesn't have the yellow or the red face. He's just got these horns. Looks kind of cool. Of course, she chokes him out, wins. Mando shows up, says, hey, listen, I got a job for you. I need some help. And she's like, no, I'm good. I want to stay here. You know, it's just, I need to lay low. I don't need to go help you with some local skirmish. And he's like, listen, this isn't some local crime lord. He's Imperial. To which she says, I'm in. And after Baby Yoda almost crashes the ship, again, they decide they need a babysitter, or at least somebody to watch them. So they decide, hey, let's go back and talk to Quill. So we go back to the planet from the first episode, and we catch up with Quill. So we catch up with Quill, and we get a little bit more of his backstory, which I enjoyed. We find out a little bit more about his background, how he was actually enslaved by the Empire, which I thought was a nice touch. And then IG-11 shows up to offer him tea. So while Mando and Cara stand there with blasters drawn, Quill tells us a story. And this is my first gripe about the episode. We have a 65-second flashback scene, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're watching the episode, it feels like a lot. In this scene, Quill goes and gets IG-11, and he brings him back to the hut, and he has to rebuild him, and he has to reprogram him, and he has to train him. And then we have like a training scene where IG-11 has to relearn how to walk and how to use all of his motor skills. It just seemed, it was fine, but we didn't need that. Quill resists at first, but he does eventually agree to go with Mando on his mission, but not without insisting on taking IG-11 and all three Blurg. That seemed like a lot, but it actually plays out pretty well in the episode. So we have the Blurg, we have Quill, we have IG-11, we have Cara, we have Mando, we have Baby Yoda, and they're all on the Razor Crest headed back to Navarro. So to pass the time, Mando and Cara are having an arm wrestling contest, and they're kind of at a stalemate, and I like that because it sort of retcons what happened in the other episode, where Cara really got the best of Mando. And this leads to my second gripe about the episode. As they're arm wrestling, Baby Yoda, I guess, is afraid that Mando's in trouble, so he reaches out physically with his hand, and with the Force chokes Cara. And trust me, this is not the end of Baby Yoda's Force powers in this episode. I'm beginning to understand why this was released before Rise of Skywalker, but that's another show. So Mando stops Baby Yoda from killing Cara, and then they all sort of opine about what this could be and how he was able to do this. I don't know why they don't just say the Force. This is only 5 years after the Return of the Jedi, so I don't understand why no one is just aware of the Force. I mean, surely someone has mentioned this before. I mean, we've got the New Republic sort of spreading out, and I'm sure they're telling the story of the great Luke Skywalker. Disney Star Wars would never omit that, right? So after that discussion, we have a little argument between Cara and Quill, and then Mando says, listen, I need your skills. Can you make or maybe pad this bed so the baby can sleep better? And then Quill's like, no, I'll show you how great I am with my hands. I'll completely make a new one. I really appreciate the fact that Quill is a craftsman, but where did he get all the supplies to just make a brand new baby bed? Even if he modified what was there, I mean, you still have to have material. And the ship is only so big, you can only have so much stuff on this ship. And, you know, Mando's a gun for hire. He's not a welder for hire. So then they land on Navarro, far away from the city. They ride out on their Blurgs, and they meet with Grief Karga, who's got a couple bounty hunters with him. We have a tense exchange. Nobody really trusts each other, and that's a good thing. They both try to kill each other. So Grief says, listen, let's head towards the city. We're not going to make it in one day, so we'll camp tonight, and then we'll be there in the morning. Then we have these cool scenes where they're traveling, and you can tell that the planet is it's volcanic underneath. I think once again, the art direction is really top-notch in this TV show. I mean, I really enjoy it. It's little things like that that really convince you you're on another planet. So it's night, they're by a campfire, they're roasting like a pig or a deer or something, I'm not sure. Everybody's eating, they're kind of going over the plan. Listen, hey, it's no big deal. We'll sneak in there, you'll kill the bad guy, and once everybody else sees that they're not going to get a paycheck, all the stormtroopers will go away, and life will turn back to normal. I'll pay you, you can take the baby with you, everybody wins. Then Grief Targa stands up to take a big piece of meat off the skewer and says, hey, what could possibly go wrong? When a character says that, you know something's about to go wrong. These like pterodactyl creatures just sort of swoop in and grab the meat, and they start like attacking everybody, and they try to grab the Blurg and fly off with them, and they kill one of the bounty hunters. And they keep coming in and out of the glow of the campfire light. I think it's done really well. So we lose a blurg, we lose a bounty hunter, and then Grief Karga gets cut pretty severely. And as Kara is trying to treat this extreme laceration on his forearm, she says the poison is beginning to spread. And then we get to my third problem with this episode. Baby Yoda just kind of comes strolling over there and heals Grief Karga. Heals him. I mean, just put his hand on him. Just lay his hands on him like he's a televangelist. He stops the poison from spreading, and you actually see the cuts heal, which graphically looked good. I mean, the CGI was great. It really looked convincing. Like kind of like when Wolverine would get cut in the X-Men, and then you would see the skin, everything sort of just heal back up. It was done really well. And then this sort of exhausts Baby Yoda, and he sits down, and I'm like, well, here we go again. I mean, this is another force power that we're seeing. That's 2 in 1 episode. I guess 3 total, right? Please tell me you're eventually going to explain this. Please, please, please tell me he was trained. Don't try to sell me on this idea that people are just born with this ability. You can be force sensitive, you can be born attuned to the force, you can have a high midichlorian count, but you still need to be trained. Anakin, the chosen one, still had to be trained. So it's daybreak, and they make their way to the outskirts of the city. And Grief Karga, standing in front, says, well, this is it. And spins around with dual blasters and kills the 2 bounty hunters. He says, listen, Mando, I got to level with you. The plan was actually to kill you, take the baby, and go back. But after what happened last night, I just couldn't go through with it. So, Grief Karga's got a heart. So now they got to modify the plan. So the new plan is Quill's going to take Baby Yoda back to the Razor Crest. They're going to cuff Mando. We're going to say that Kara actually captured Mando. And then they're all going to walk in together. And the rest of the plan is still in place. We're going to sit you down. We're going to have the little Baby Yoda's floating bassinet. Grief's going to slip Mando the blaster. He'll shoot him under the table. This is not a special edition. He will shoot first. He won't shoot second. So they head into the town with Mando in cuffs. And then Quill heads to the Razor Crest on a blurg with Baby Yoda. And at the entrance of the city, you got these stormtroopers with speeders, and they've got the helmets from Endor, and they're walking through town with Mando in cuffs. And there's a ton of stormtroopers everywhere. So they make their way back to the safe house. They sit Mando down. They're about to have a drink. He's convinced that Baby Yoda's there, but they've got the little floating bassinet covered. So far, so good, right? And just as Werner Herzog's character is demanding that they open up the bassinet so we can see the child, he's alerted by a stormtrooper to an incoming transmission. And we see that it's a character that I've actually been waiting to see. It's Moff Gideon. Now, Moff Gideon wants to know if he's got the child, and when he's told yes, that the baby's just sleeping, he says, you might want to check again. And before anybody can blink, the entire safe house is just riddled with blasters. And when the smoke clears, you look outside and you see a squad of death troopers. Now, Mando, Kara, and Grief are fine. Everybody else is dead. But as they try to get their bearings, you see another transport show up with more stormtroopers. And as all these reinforcements are coming in, you got Mando communicating with Quill saying, listen, are you there? Have you made it? And Quill says, no, I'm not quite there yet. I'm riding a blurg, they're kind of slow. Mando says, listen, as soon as you get to the Razor Crest, take off, get out of here. We're under fire. We're pinned down. Just get out of here. But the problem with this is the 2 speeder troopers actually intercept the transmission, and then they take off after him. So we have 2 speeder troopers going after Quill. We have our heroes pinned down. You're thinking, well, how are they going to get out of this situation? And then we see a TIE fighter coming for a landing. The graphics in this show blow me away. When this TIE fighter comes down, its wings actually collapse and landing gear comes out. And then you see the top hatch open and out comes Moff Gideon. But I'm just impressed. This is believable. This looks like it should be in a Star Wars movie. Now Gideon is standing there with the Death Troopers, and it's that scene from the trailer that we saw before the show started. And he's yelling to whoever may still be alive in the safe house that, hey, listen, we got you pinned down. You have something that means more to me than you could possibly imagine. I'm talking about Baby Yoda. And while Gideon is outside giving this speech, we see the speeders catching up to Quill, who's still on the blurg. He's not quite made it to the Razor Crest, but the ship is in view. Mando's on the intercom. He's trying to get a hold of Quill. Quill, are you there? Quill, have you made it? Quill, and of course Quill is just concentrated on trying to ride. He sees the 2 speeders behind him. He's trying to get to the Razor Crest. We see the trapdoor open. We think, okay, maybe he's going to make it. Maybe he's going to make it. Gideon's outside talking. Mando's still trying to get a hold of him. He's on the comm. It's a pretty tense moment. I got to tell you, I wasn't biting my fingernails, but I was on the edge of my seat. I wasn't on the edge of my seat, but you understand what I'm saying. And the camera keeps going back and forth between Mando on the comm, trying to get a hold of him, Gideon outside talking, Quill trying to get to the Razor Crest. And on one of those cuts, we transition from Mando to Quill, and we see Baby Yoda just laying in the dirt, wrapped up in the blanket, as a speeder trooper comes by and picks him up. And then the next shot, unfortunately, is Quill laying on the ground, pretty sure he's dead, along with his blurg. And then the episode just ends. I thought it was a great ending. So there you go, Chapter 7 of The Mandalorian. Let's go ahead and rate this thing. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a great episode. I had some issues. I had some problems. We talked about that a little bit. I have concerns, not so much in this episode, but the series moving forward. If we don't explain in a realistic way Baby Yoda's use of the Force, it's going to be a problem moving forward, and I can see where it's going to be like a plot device to sort of get them out of a sticky situation. But I'm going to reserve those fears for another episode or another season, but for what we've got right now, I tell you what, I'm liking it. Anyway, y'all, those are my thoughts. Let me know down in the comments section. What did you think about this episode? Are you enjoying the show so far? One more episode in season 1. I'm anxious to see how they wrap it up. Really excited to see season 2. This is a great, great show. Hit like if you like the video. Subscribe if you like the content. Y'all have a blessed day, and I will see you next time.